just never gotten around to them for so long. I finally need to read the series. And I'm pretty sure that this one is going to be one that I'm going to be obsessed with as soon as I get around to reading it. I know it's one for a long time. To read this. So today I'm introducing a new series onto my channel called My Pile of Shame. So these Pile of Shame videos are going to be basically taking a different subject or different type of book and basically making me feel bad about myself. Not really, it's not that serious. I don't really feel like that bad, but I just thought that this would be like a fun type of video to do to show you guys how bad I am at keeping up with my TBR or keeping up with basically just what I want to read. So some of these videos might be like authors that I've never read before, series I haven't continued on with even though I started them, different things like that. So today I'm going to talk about all of my unread ARCs that I have. So an ARC stands for an advanced reader's copy, and these advanced reader copies of books are sent out to reviewers and to different people to promote before the release of a book so they can read it ahead of time, give out hopefully a glowing review of it, and it's a really cool thing to be able to get these ARCs in general. But I have a huge stack of ones that I have never gotten around to reading. These are all either sent to me unsolicited by a publisher from a ARC trade that I did with somebody else, so they traded me theirs, or from BEA and BookCon, which is like 99% of these ARCs are from BEA and BookCon. So let's go ahead and dive right into my pile of shame. So I have 18 ARCs here, which is a lot, and the first one I have is When We Were Vikings by Andrew David MacDonald. I got this one at BEA and BookCon, which is going to be like all these, so I'm not going to say it. Just assume all these are from BEA and BookCon unless I specifically say that they're not. But these are all still ones that I'm planning on reading, so don't get that twisted, guys. I still want to read all these. I'm planning on reading them eventually. But this one I actually was going to be unhauling and donating or trading to somebody just based on the synopsis alone. I was not interested in it at all. But then when the final book came out, I started hearing some more buzz around it, and it ends up like people are really enjoying this book. So it gave me like a little bit of a boost, like, hey, maybe you should pick that up. I pulled it off my trading pile and decided to go ahead and give this one a shot and put it back on my TBR. So we'll see how this one goes when it comes out. This one came out on January 28th, so not even that long ago, just like a week or two ago. So not out too long, but some of these books on here have been out for quite a while, so get prepared. Then I have Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys, and this came out in October, so it's been out for several months now, and I still really want to read it. Ruta Sepetys would be one of the authors on my pile of shame of authors I've never read before, because this is the third book by her that I own, and I still have not read any of them. I want to read this one so bad. It takes place in Spain after the Spanish Civil War. I don't remember exactly when that ended, so soon after the Spanish Civil War, and it's following two different people, one coming from America to like kind of explore their Spanish heritage, and then the other one is somebody who's from Madrid. So really want to read this one, and I've had it on TBR in the past, but I just never got around to reading it. I am planning on it. I want to read it soon because it sounds really good. Then I have The 29th Day by Alex Messenger, and this came out in November. So this is a nonfiction book following this guy who was a teenager, and he went out on this like really long canoe trip in Canada, and he ended up getting like mauled by a bear and getting really hurt on his leg. And it's basically their journey trying to get back to like a town to get him some help because they're really far away. I got this one specifically for my husband because it sounded like a book that he would actually enjoy, and he never reads. And he ended up reading, I think, like half of it on the plane, but he just doesn't read, and he didn't really get into this one. But my dad did read this one, and he doesn't really read very often either, but he also really enjoyed it, and I do want to read this one too, but who knows when that will actually happen. I'm not even going to tell you guys reading plans because I don't know when I'm going to read any of these. Then I have The Tiger Queen by Annie Sullivan, and I just love Annie so much. This one came out in September 10th, and I love Annie. She is the sweetest person ever. If you ever get the opportunity to meet her, please go do it and ask her about all of her travels, because she's been to like every continent. She's even been to Antarctica, which is like a bucket list trip of mine. I would love to go, but she is the sweetest person ever, and I really enjoyed her first book, A Touch of Gold. So I do want to read this one, but I am a little bit apprehensive of it just based on some things that I've heard. So I don't know, but I just can't get rid of it because I just love Annie and I do want to read it. She did sign and personalize it to me because she is just the sweetest thing. So she's so cute, and I really do want to read this one eventually too. Then I've got After the Flood by Cassandra Montag. This came out in September, and this is a dystopian post-apocalyptic kind of tale thing, but it is an adult fiction book, so rather than being YA, which is what we typically see with dystopian, this is adult. This is following a woman and her young daughter in the year 2100 or something like that, and the whole earth has basically just been flooded. They're just little islands all around the planet, and it's following her and her daughter as they are like just traveling around the world in this little boat, and her older daughter had gotten kidnapped, and I think they might be like on some sort of like action adventure story to try to get her daughter back, but I don't really know exactly. But this one sounds really good, and I've heard it on like some highly acclaimed new release book things from like Barnes & Noble or something like that. So then I have Beyond the Shadowed Earth by Joanna Ruth Meyer, and this came out on January 14th. I got sent this one from the publisher, and I was really excited about it when I read the synopsis. It sounded so good. Then I found out that it was a sequel. Haven't read the first one, don't have the first one, so I'm probably not going to be getting to this one for a while because I'll have to read the first one first, but it does sound like an interesting synopsis. Then I have Followers by Megan Angelo, and this one I want to read so badly, and just seeing this one like reignited my like interest in it. This is a futuristic thriller type thing, but with a social media element. So in this day and age, basically celebrities are like constantly on camera 24 hours of the day. They are being recorded and broadcast, and it's following a girl who has found out that a lot of the life that she knew was a lie. She finally summons the courage to run in search of the truth. So this will be interesting. I've heard really good things about this one too, and I really do want to pick this up like super soon. Then I've got 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Haro, and this came out in September as well. And this one has been getting a lot of praise here on BookTube, and I've been really wanting to pick this one up too. I started reading this one and got like one chapter in, but I just was really not in the mood for it, so I put it down, and then I just kind of forgot about it and didn't pick it back up. But this one, it sounds really good. It's following a girl, and she is like a ward of this like old rich man, and she discovers in his library some sort of book that I think it takes her to like some different portal worlds or something like that. So it's like a portal fantasy, historical, like set in the early 1900s. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll enjoy this one. It seems like it's been pretty split, like if people really liked it or they didn't like it. So hopefully I am the side that does like it. Then we have Library of Lost Things by Laura Taylor Namey. This is a YA contemporary romance, and it's following a girl who works at a bookstore and has had like a lifelong love of books, and a boy comes into her bookstore and they end up like having some sort of like fairy tale type romance, and I'm really excited about this one. I love books about books, so hopefully I'll enjoy this one too. This one came out October 8th. Then we have Ribbons of Scarlet by a plethora of authors. This one was kind of confusing to me. This one came out in October, and I thought this was nonfiction, but just looking on the back it says historical fiction, so I guess not. I thought what this was like stories of different women in the French Revolution, but I think it's a like fictionized version of it. So it's following late 18th century France, you know, the French Revolution, and women's place basically in that time period, and then like fighting to find their place. I don't typically read very much historical fiction, as you guys have probably seen, but every once in a while there'll be one that really like calls my name, and this one I've been really wanting to read too. I was really interested in this one to the point where I was like searching it out at Book Expo, so I'm happy that I was able to get a copy of it, but just still have not read it. Then we've got Cursed by Frank Miller and Thomas Wheeler. This is a like illustrated book. They have like lots of different illustrations in it, but it's coming out on Netflix in a couple months, I think, and it came out in October. The book came out in October. The Netflix show is coming out, I think, in March. But this is basically a gender swap version of King Arthur, and I have a video idea coming up about different things that relates to that, so stay tuned. It'll be like a secret video. This is a little sneak preview if you're going to be looking forward to that. Then we've got The Beast by Ali Condi and Brendan Reichs. This is the second book in the Dark Deep is the series. This is a middle grade series reminiscent of The Goonies, Stranger Things type book, and I really enjoyed the first one a lot, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. It's definitely like a fun adventure-y story for younger kids, especially if you want them to get into that kind of like adventurous spirit. I definitely would recommend the first book, The Deep. It does get a little bit scary, I think, for kids, but nothing like terrifying, but could be a little scary for like the younger middle grade age range. but I do think it was really fun. I'm excited to read the sequel also. This one came out in October. Then we've got Shadow Frost by Coco Ma, and I want to read this book so bad. This is a YA fantasy, and the author had just barely turned 18 at the time this book was published, so I'm really excited for her to have such a great accomplishment at such a young age. It was published in October, and it's following a girl, and her kingdom has been like being enslaved by some sort of darkness, like, and they don't know, is it a monster? What is it? Basically, it's some sort of like creepy darkness encroaching on their kingdom, which sounds great. Then we've got The Man That Got Away by Lynn Truss. This came out in October also, and it's following 1957 like mystery, cozy mystery thing is what I'm imagining. I've never read anything by this author, but this is like one of those mystery series that spans like a lot of things, and I don't think you have to read it in order. I think they're just kind of like pick it up as you go type of mystery series. It's also set in a beach town, and I live in a beach town, so that'll be kind of fun to compare 1950s beach town to where I live now. So I'm excited for this one. It does sound really fun, and it's why I kept it around, even though it's not like my typical read. It's one that I think would be good to take on like vacation with me or something like that. So hopefully I'll get to this one soon also. We're getting closer to the end of my pile. The next one I have is The Storm Crow by Kaylin Josephson. This one came out in July, so this is one of the oldest ones yet. This is following a girl who lives in a kingdom where they have these like crazy magical crows, and their kingdom basically just gets like completely destroyed and decimated. The main girl was the princess of the kingdom, so her like kingdom has been like demolished. She ends up finding a crow egg and like nursing it, raising it, hatching it, etc. And then like trying to regain her kingdom is what I think this one is about. I'm still a little bit iffy about this one, so if you guys have read this one, let me know down in the comments below what you thought of it, because I need kind of a push either way. If it was bad or if it was good, I don't know. Next, I've got a nonfiction book, and so this is Beneath the Tamarind Tree by Isha Sase, and this came out in July also, so another older one. This is a nonfiction book about the abduction of the Chibok schoolgirls. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. In 2014, a terrorist group came and abducted 276 schoolgirls from this town in Nigeria and kept them for several years, I believe. And so this is telling their story of their rescue, story of their captivity, and it's one that I was really interested in picking up. I have a hard time getting to nonfiction, but it does really appeal to me, and I do want to read this book and learn more about these girls. Then we've got Mistress of the Ritz by Melanie Benjamin. This one came out on May 22nd, so this one is also older. This one obviously is set in Paris, as you can tell by the Eiffel Tower. It's historical fiction, as you could also probably tell by the cover, and that's basically about all I know about it. I am interested in it. I would like to read it, as I've said 10,000 times. Now, the very last one that I have is also the oldest, and that is Queen of Blood by Sarah Beth Durst. This came out in 2016. Now, I have not had this arc since 2016. I've only had this for probably about a year. I traded an older arc to somebody, and she traded me this one for it because I'm just interested in this premise. I believe each book follows a different queen, but I don't know that for sure. The cover looks very appealing to me. I've heard good things about the series. I know it's older YA, obviously from 2016, but I'm very interested in picking this one up too, so we'll see if I ever end up getting to it. Well guys, thank you for sticking around with me and discussing my giant pile of shame. I don't know what to say. I'm hoping that these books will appear on my TBR over the next year or so. Within 2020, I would like to have read all of these, if not almost all of these, before the end of the year. So keep me accountable. I'll be checking back on this video at the end of the year and seeing how I did, if I was able to complete all these unread arcs that I had, especially since I'm going to be EA again this year. I'm going to be getting a million more, and I still have not even read these ones from last year. So over the next couple months, I'd like to be prioritizing these, especially in like March, April, and May. So before I go to be EA, I'd like to be getting through these. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!